Welcome to K. Elizabeth Toasts, a podcast celebrating people who increase our quality of life. I'm your host, K. Elizabeth. Each episode is a heartfelt interview of a remarkable person making lives better. Give a listen if you are in need of a dopamine hit, or if you like toast, because this toast's for you. Just a heads up, this is the last episode of season 1. I'm going to take a month or two, figure out some things like hardware and marketing. I'll be back for season 2 in a month or two. Please hit the follow button so that you'll know when we come back. And without further ado, here's Josh. So first of all, what's your name?
Sure. Josh Eastrake.
Josh, I'm really glad to meet you, first of all. So glad to have you in the community. Also, love your shirt. Anti-sexist, anti-racist, pro-equality beer club. Can I give you a little context about the podcast itself? So the social determinants of health are things that help us become healthier and happier human beings. And they actually have nothing to do with our genetics. They have nothing to do with our lifestyle choices. It has to do with essentially systemic things like racism is really bad and it impacts your health, right? So there's 5 different social determinants of health. One is financial security. One is like social and community context, like having social people that you're socially connected to.
Yeah.
One is access to healthcare. One is access to education. And one is your neighborhood and your built community. And when I think about Woodenship, I think about you fitting into that neighborhood community and being a part of the built community here. So with that in mind, I'm hoping that we could talk a little bit about what Woodenship does and what you and your partners do to make people happier and healthier.
We try to do this.
What is Woodenship?
And at the heart of it, we're a brewery that wants to be more than just a brewery. So we started out as home brewers, like most of us did. Kind of had some scrappy jobs in the industry, starting out as bartenders, had this dream of making beer that more than just our friends and family would be forced to drink. So I'm in nature a creative person. Like I've done music for most of my life, was a cook for many, many years in all sorts of different places, have helped start 4 businesses. I have to be doing things like the idea in my head to start a restaurant started when I was probably like 15. And then quickly when I worked in restaurants, I was like, I don't want to own this.
Yeah.
Way too much work. I'm already putting in too many hours. And I see everyone just get burnt out.
Yeah.
Then as I got more into drinking beer and brewing and working in the industry, I ended up getting a job as a brewer, just kind of stumbling into it at a brewery in St. Paul. And then was pretty much immediately like, I think I can do this better. And not trying to put them down, but it was there's things I would do differently. And a big part of that was kind of that communal aspect. Like there's a lot of breweries out there, a lot of places making really good beer. There's a lot of food, there's a lot of bands. Everyone's doing cool stuff, especially in Minnesota, Minneapolis. We're not like a dry spot for that.
Yeah, right.
But what I didn't see a lot of was the idea of making more than just beer. Like it's food and drink is so social.
Yeah.
And you kind of talked about the things that can shape you. And I think both that community space and food in particular, but I'll say beer in this case too, it's like a necessity to live, but also like, I love eating out. I love going to fancy restaurants. Like my wife and I, like, we're not like big, we don't do the traditional, like we don't go to movies a lot, but like what we do, we go to places to eat.
Like,
food, that's our love language. So the desire to create, but also like it's not necessary. Beer is not.
Yeah.
We don't need beer to survive. What we do need, I'll agree with you, is that community, that space, whether it's built or you're just accidentally thrown into it or whatever.
Yeah.
So right away we wanted to be a place that made really good beer, and we pride ourselves. We want to make good beer. We want to make money, obviously. But like the bigger picture has always been to be more than that and to use our environment to do something good with it. Like I fully believe, I've said this, it's in my business plan somewhere. Like I wouldn't be here. None of us would be here without the community that has shaped us, both good and bad. Like all of our experiences that were in our lives have shaped who I am now. Like everything about Woodenship. We were helped by family. We were helped by friends, other people in the brewing industry. But on the flip side of that, if we become the best brewery out there and make billions of dollars, which we're not doing, and don't have anyone to share that with, like, what's the point? Beer, I would argue, is great for building that community and building an environment that's welcoming to everyone. So if we can make money doing this thing, that's just a creative outlet for me, and I can turn around and use the resources we bring in, the finances, the connections, like people's energy and volunteering, like, and I can push that out. Still want to be successful, still want to make money, but at the end of the day, would I rather have the best sales date ever, or be able to donate something, or have someone come back and be like, hey, like, I was here and like I felt really welcome because other breweries haven't accepted people that look like me, or like, that's way more important to me. As like the ideas person, I would love to just give away all my money. As the owner, winter is really tough. But like our first year, we gave away over $50,000, and like that was awesome. Wow. And then we were like, hold on, like we still need to pay our rent. So now we've developed more of a structure of like who we donate to, and like this month our donations is Black History Month. So we're donating to Black organizations in Minneapolis that like specifically are reaching out to the community, like providing grants, providing scholarships, programs for kids, like stuff that's important. Not that anything else isn't important that we shouldn't donate to, but we are learning to be more specific and target in on what we value and benefiting people's lives that don't have the opportunities that a lot of us do. Yeah. Linden Hills is such like a weird zone of like really like affluent, wealthy people, but also really generous, really like, well, it's a very accepting community as far as I've seen. So it's been awesome that the neighborhood here has kind of accepted what we're doing, just roll with it, and not been like, no, you're really weird, you make weird beer, you give away your money, this is weird. The heart of it, this is a long answer to yours. No, this is exactly what I want to know. Yeah, we want to make really good beer. We wanted it to be small for that communal aspect. It sounds like this is who you are as a person, but how do you convince others to be like, yeah, this is the business model we want? Yeah. Join me. I'm still surprised that we have the investors that we do, because it is a weird idea. And like, yeah, everything about our business plan is a little bit backwards, but maybe because it's different, it's more refreshing or attractive. I don't know. Like, for like, myself and my partner, we're not taking any like payments. We have this thing we're paying our investors back first to say, you trust us, like we want to reward you guys for that. And like, this was just kind of like a thing we all agreed on. There were a lot of ideas thrown out about how we can like actively connect with people in the community and like, but I don't know, like the donation thing just like made sense. And we all just kind of come from that background of like, we're all scrappy people that like don't necessarily, we weren't born with like all the opportunity in the world. So like, we're grateful for what we have. And again, it's just like not a whole lot of point to doing this if we're just in it to make money and then be done. I tend to downplay what we're doing because we're just like helping other people do cool stuff. We're just making beer and they're using ourselves as like a funnel. Can you give some concrete examples? Yeah, so I mean, the financial one is probably the easiest. We also try to do a lot of collaborations that mean something. Like, it's one thing to, we're really good friends with Venn Brewing. We do like a collab with them pretty much every year, and it's usually a really good beer. That's the end of it. Yeah. But there's like initiatives like Native Land, which is a beer collab it's international now, I think, but it was started by Bow and Arrow Brewing, which is the first woman Indigenous-owned brewery in America. Wow. And they just had this idea that like, let's make a beer that promotes like Indigenous culture, like, and the requirements to be a part of it were you have to donate to a local Indigenous charity and to acknowledge whose land you're on, which in Minnesota, like, huge Indigenous population, like tons of different Indigenous peoples represented here. So we're like, yeah, this makes total sense. So we partnered with several groups because of that. So we like doing collabs like that. Like 1 in 4 was one we did that raises awareness about domestic abuse. A lot of ones around mental health, ones around like women in the brewing industry. And like every time we do one of those, we're donating to typically local, if we can, local organizations having to do with that cause. The ones we want to do even more than that though are the community ones, like blood drives. We do those once a month, so that we typically fill up all the slots. The Bloodmobile parks right next to the building, and if you donate, you get a free token. Give a pint, you get a pint. I love it. We do collaboration stuff with the Good Acre. It's like a CSA, so get more healthy produce in the neighborhood. We reached out this summer and got 7 artists to design new can labels for us. And we were very specific in saying, like, we want to reach into the queer community, like the Black community, like have inherent privilege being male and white. And like, I have to do everything I can to like share that privilege. I will publicly say we were late to the Black History Month donation. Totally slipped my mind. And actually, one of my employees is a Black man, like brought it up. Yep, we overthought this one. Like, that's totally on me. Like, we have a beer plan for International Women's Day to come out. We do pride stuff. Like, why are we not doing this? Like, we have people of color on staff. Like, shame on me for not celebrating that culture more and like partnering with more people in the community that look different than I do. So like, I'm still learning, like I'm still having to admit when I make mistakes. And like, again, thankfully our staff is very like, we have open conversations about this stuff all the time. It's awesome. Like, I want to be a space where people can call me out for stuff. Like, I will admit from the beginning, I don't know what I'm doing. We've gotten very lucky that the brewery has become what it is, but it's super important to have a staff that will call me out and say like, hey, so Anthony, who called me out and didn't do so like maliciously or anything, just expressing his feelings on it. We had a really good conversation about it and talked about like what it means to be Black in the industry. And like, he suggested right away, like, hey, can we get some more art in here? Like, I have art at home. I have art friends. Like, we're already talking about a Juneteenth event where we're going to get some, a group of Black vendors to come in and like, you know, have an opportunity to show off who they are and what they do. And like, I don't know, that's just what we want to do. I don't ever want to say no to an idea like that. It's a matter of like, okay, how can we do this? If you're doing good in the community, like, I don't know. I don't want it just to be about like, here's a check. Keep doing your thing. Sometimes that is important. Like, if you have a specific skill I don't have, it is best if I have the financial means to support you. But I think more often that energy and your time and like physically showing up to do something means a whole lot more. Wanted it to be small for that communal aspect. This is before COVID. And like my ideas of how close I want to be to a person has changed a little bit. But before then, like, there was something kind of nice about being forced to like share a table with someone. Like the idea of like, it's packed in here and there's only, you know, a dozen tables. There's 2 spots there. I have to ask that person if I can sit by them. And like more often than not, like, and it's very rare that people say no. So it's kind of this forced, tight-knit, close community. And even actually in COVID, we had, you know, all the regulations, you know, 6 feet apart for the tables. We were at half capacity. We did hour time slots because everyone wanted to get in. And more often than not, while people waited in line to get in, they would become friends with people that they had never met before. Oh, do you want to share a table? And then like, we can figure out the timing thing. It was just really cool to see that develop without us even kind of intending that. So I've been really grateful that this neighborhood has just been fully on board with like, yep, we like staying in Linden Hills too. Like, we want to come to your spot. There's not really another place like us. Tons of good food around here. Most places are dog friendly around here. You can go to Sattergren and there's dogs in there and like, but there's no place to like bring your kids, your dogs, come play games, sit down, watch music. No rush to get in and out and get the next people in. Like, it's usually standing room on the patio. So like, you got to come prepared to stand and make new friends. But I don't know. We just want to be a communal spot and use what we bring in from people to just immediately give it right back out. Let's say Monday through Thursday, we're 90% regulars. If you walk through the door, you probably know who you are. And I do think that is special and fairly unique that we've been able to survive on that model, because it's great. Like, there's all sorts of little mom and pop shops around that like rely on regulars, but I don't know if that is a sustainable model often. I don't know if ours is either. We're still open at the moment.
Well, let's keep it sustainable. So let's do a call out here for what people can do in order to support you as you give back to the community.
But the easiest way to come to the tap room, spend some money. And keeps us alive and allows us to keep giving back.
And I think if I could just make a recognition that other people in the service industry as well are in a tough spot.
Absolutely.
that this has just been essentially 3 years of awfulness for small businesses. Thank you for being a part of the community, for building a community. Thank you as well for being a brewery committed to anti-racism, to equality for women. Like I recognize and see that as a commitment to a greater good. And so thank you for that. Cheers to you. Here's your non-alcoholic toast. Now it's time for your toast.
This toast is for my wife, Farnaz, who I owe so much to because she increases my quality of life so much. She really has shown me the importance of shifting my mindset from one that focuses a lot on his own career to one that now focuses more so on family, friends, and just relationships in general. And for that reason, I think my life is so much better than I could ever imagine it being. And I think I owe it all to my lovely wife, Farnaz. And so this toast is for her.
Now it's your turn. Record your own toast for future consideration at ketoasts.com. Thanks for joining us. And if you haven't already, please like, follow, and share this podcast to keep it going. Then, go toast up some bread. Every positive action is worth toasting.
Yeah, I have an awesome staff that I can trust to help make those decisions.
I need to come back for the Ecto Cooler because that looked pretty crazy.
It is one of the more weird ones we've done. I know that a staff request.
They were like, yeah, we want to do Ecto Cooler.
It was very specific, can we make it slime green? And I was like, we can find a way to do that. Chances are we know you by name. 2 aisles of just ramen noodles. I could spend so much money here.